What is up everyone, it is Sacred Saiyan here, welcoming you to the 7th episode of the series, What If Sacred Saiyan Was in Dragon Ball? If you end up liking today's video, then please consider subscribing. It is free, and you can always unsubscribe later. There's a link in the description of the video to join my Discord server, and also to become a channel member if you want to support the channel. I have another channel where I post Star Wars What Ifs, and I posted the first video on my gaming channel as well, so if you want to check them out in the description of the video, then you can. And with all of that out of the way, let's get into the 7th episode of What If Sacred Saiyan Was in Dragon Ball? This video begins with both my future self and I in Super Saiyan God, and we rush towards the bio-android Cell. We come towards him from different sides, trying to split his attention, and we both attempt to land a punch on his jaw. However, Cell catches both of our fists, and then slams us into each other, before throwing us a short distance away. My future self and I then decide to take a different approach, both powering up Kamehamehas in unison, and Cell laughs, flying up into the air, and then doing the same. Both my future self and I disappear, my future self appearing under Cell, while I appear above him, and we both then fire our attack at the bio-android, Cell having no other option but to put up a barrier, negating both of our attacks, and Cell then appears in front of me, kicking me to the ground, and then appearing behind my future self, and whispering into his ear, "You are alone." The Sacred from this timeline may be forgiven, but his world wasn't ravaged by androids who kill countless innocent people. But you, on the other hand, your so-called friends will never forgive you for letting them all die. And Gohan will never forgive you for letting them die either. My future self is paralysed, because of the realisation that Cell is probably right. And then, Cell punches a hole in my future self's chest, reverting into his base form, and my future self then falls to the ground, on the brink of death. Cell then glares at me, saying that I might as well give up, because standing against him is futile now. I then smirk, saying for someone who has my knowledge, Cell is rather stupid. Cell has a confused expression on his face, but then, I raise one arm into the air, and Cell realises what I am doing. But it's too late. I use Force Spirit Vision on Cell, and I remove the androids from him, reverting Cell to his imperfect form, and then Cell begins to panic, knowing the only chance he has is to self-destruct, because that may make him super perfect Cell. However, before he can, I appear in front of him, and fire a point-blank Kamehameha, killing the bio-android once and for all. I then walk over to my future self, feeding them a senzu bean, and they quickly recover, jumping up and asking where Cell is. I tell my future self what happened, and he's relieved, but I can tell something is on his mind. I ask him what Cell said to him, but my future self says it doesn't matter, before changing the subject and beginning to walk towards the two androids on the ground. I follow closely behind, and my future self says that I'm going to let them live, aren't I? I then nod, saying that he knows as well as I do that they can be redeemed, at least in this timeline. And besides, Android 18 reminds me of someone from our world. Doesn't my future self see it? My future self slightly smirks, saying he supposes he knows who I'm on about, the one who always seemed to be out of reach for us. I then laugh, patting my future self on the back and saying, yeah, that's the one. I then carry the unconscious bodies of the androids to look out before we summon Shenron, and I wish to revive everyone killed by Cell, and I then wish to remove the bombs from the androids. The androids woke up before I did this, seeing me wish for that, and the wish being granted, and they have mixed emotions right now, but decide to fly off for the time being. The others ask if I am sure we should let them go, and I simply nod. Even if they do stay evil, I'm strong enough to kill them now anyway. I am then forcefully reverted into my base form, as I lose the Super Saiyan God form, as it was only temporary from the ritual. However, I still retain its power in my base form, and so does my future counterpart. My future self and future Gohan then head back to their own timeline, in order to defeat the androids. All of us saying goodbye as they do, but I stare at my future self as they leave, and he is still looking like something is wrong. In the future, Gohan and I have returned to our timeline. Gohan hasn't said a word to me since the defeat of Cell, and I still have what Cell said on my mind. We return to Capsule Corp, where we find a distraught Bulma, and I tell Bulma to calm down and tell us what happened. Through tears, Bulma says that Trunks went to fight the androids by himself, and they killed him. Gohan is enraged, transforming into Super Saiyan 2 out of pure anger, and he turns to me and shouts that it's my fault. Bulma is confused, but then Gohan tells Bulma that I knew everything that was going to happen, but I didn't stop it. Bulma looks at me in disbelief. Gohan then shouting that I need to leave and never come back. He thought he could forget what I did, but he can't. He won't. Not now. Gohan then flies off to go kill the androids, and Bulma faintly mutters, "Is it true?" I solemnly nod, before teleporting away, appearing on Namek, where I ask for the Dragon Balls. The Namekians don't recognise me at first, But after I tell them who I am, they come to realise it really is me, and they happily allow me to use the Dragon Balls. Porunga is summoned, and I have 3 wishes to make. I have an Namekian next to me in order to translate my wishes, and I begin to say them. My first wish is to revive everyone killed by the androids. My second wish is to restore all the damage done by the androids. And my final wish is to be transported to a random desolate planet. The Namekian is confused as to why I wanted the third wish. However, he doesn't question it, and he translates all of the wishes to Porunga, and they are all granted. I appear on a desolate planet, beginning my isolation as I reflect on my life. And on Earth, all the Z fighters appear and head to Capsule Corp, where they sense Gohan's energy. Goku is the first to arrive, and he asks Gohan where I am, and Gohan coldly says that I left and won't be coming back. In the present timeline, my head begins to hurt, and a single tear falls from my eye. My head then stops hurting, and I wonder what just happened. I must have just had a headache or something. Goku comes up to me and puts his hand on my shoulder, saying it's time. Everyone is waiting. I tell Goku that I am ready, and Goku and I then teleport to Capsule Corp, where all the Z fighters are waiting. I step forward, saying that I owe everyone an explanation, so I start from the beginning. I obviously can't tell them that they are all in a manga from where I come from, but I tell them that I am from a different universe, a different timeline, and I have seen the future up until a certain point. For example, in 7 years there will be a threat known as Majin Buu, who's more powerful than multiple Super Saiyan 2s. However, with the power I have now gained, I can defeat the creature in my base form. I then say that the reason I didn't tell anyone other than Kami this is because I was afraid of what drastically changing the timeline would cause. For all I knew, saving one life could have caused the death of thousands of others. However, I've been in this world long enough to realise that isn't the case, and from now on, I'm going to be honest with all of them. The Z fighters were conflicted before, but after hearing my explanation, they can understand where I'm coming from. And they have all known me for so long, they know I'm not a bad person. With that weight being lifted off my shoulders, I'm happy at last, and I cheerfully ask, who's ready to train? And this is where we're going to end off this part. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, then make sure to like, comment, and please do subscribe. It is quick and easy to do. Also, I want to give a huge thank you to Yeti Myth, Tarn Junyu, Mega Exo, Mystic Angel, Jonathan Way, Crimson Dragon 5401, Neo Whitcomb, and All Might for becoming channel members. If you want to be shouted out at the end of the video, and give the perks like the channel members here, then there is a link in the description down below to become a channel member. It greatly supports me, and it helps me immensely. With all of that out of the way, hope to see you all in the next episode of What If Sacred Saiyan was in Dragon Ball.